Hola, from the west side. It is me, DCThePurpleDiva. Welcome to Not So Random Chat. Happy Sunday and happy end of the weekend. I know I put out my reminder a little late, and so I know it may take a little while for some folk to get in here, because I know how YouTube is with getting those notifications out. But happy Sunday to you when you get here. Anyway, I hope everybody had a great weekend. I had a beautiful Sunday. I was still tired from doing those movie scenes yesterday. And, I guess, I should be not surprised that I'm aching, because my part was a bit physical, in that my character basically, falls down on her knees crying and begging, and her mother. And I had to do that like about, I don't know, what, five times. We had to run the whole scene. So, yeah, I guess I am. And that's just one scene, because we did two scenes. Now, the other scene was physical, but I didn't have to fall down on my knees for that one. I got to kiss my co-star. So that one was nice. But, I did take most of the day today to work on some more content for the channel. I'm planning on putting out 2 more videos in the next day or so. Both of them dealing with, my autism content. So the first one will probably be out tomorrow morning, because the only thing I have to do is basically go put it up there and schedule it to premiere. So I'm going to probably put that one up in the morning. And then the other one, I still have a little bit more editing to do on it, but that one is the one that's dealing with being Black and autistic and dealing with law enforcement. And I want to make sure that I do it right and do it justice. So those 2 vlogs will be out in the next 2 days. I also wanted to give a special shout out to a new supporter on YouTube, who I'm also a supporter of, and that is the Sierra Reed. Now, the Sierra Reed is a friend of mine off of YouTube. I've known her for like years, but we hadn't seen each other in a while, and we would just be on Facebook, even though we live in pretty much the same city. But especially with, the stuff that's been going on lately. But she joined YouTube about 3 months ago, and she already has over 1K subscribers. Now, Sierra's channel is more like a beauty. She does beauty stuff on her channel, like makeup stuff and makeup hauls, and kind of gives reviews on them. So shouts out to Sierra. Although I'm not a makeup guru, I do plan on hooking up with her and maybe doing some stuff in the future, because she is a mommy like me. But shouts out to the Sierra Reed. And if you guys get a chance, go check out her channel. She's also on Instagram, where she has a huge following. Yeah, like over 122,000. So I think she's going to get really big over here on YouTube as well. So I just wanted to do that at the beginning of, my little normal hour rants. Talk about that first before we get into, the serious stuff, the nitty gritty, with everything that's going on. So once again, today we had beautifully peaceful protests across the country. And I'm happy about that. And I know most of us are happy about that. But more importantly, I think that we are happy about the fact that this is not just about us here. As I've said on multiple occasions, Black people are mistreated around the world. And when you see cities like Berlin and the city of Paris and then London protests, and in London, they even knocked down the statue of the man responsible for the majority of the English slave trade. And I'm sure many people are aware of the fact that a long-standing Confederate monument was knocked down also over the weekend. Cheers to those who got rid of those monstrosities that basically represented pain to many Black people of African descent. Now, one of the other things that I think that people don't really look at with, I guess, I don't know, what the understanding is that out of all of the diaspora, those of us that are Black Americans who are, the descendants of the slaves, that were kidnapped and brought here, that was only a small portion. There was only approximately less than 250,000 slaves that came to North America in total. So that's here and in Canada, okay? The majority of the 11.2 million people who were kidnapped from the African continent went elsewhere. But for that 242,000, because that's about what it was, that landed in the United States, our wealth, even though we appear to be very, very, very poor, but the wealth of Black Americans is equal to the 12th largest gross national product. 12th wealth. If we were a country, we would be 12. Yet and still, that doesn't feel very good because it's not really equally distributed among us. There's just a minority of Black Americans that have any wealth. And although they have wealth, they have no power. They have no power. We have no power. The majority of us. And I think that this country and internationally, people are starting to see what's really been going on for us, forever it seems to us, but 400 plus years, and many of the laws that are in this country were made to hurt Black people by hateful white people, point blank. And those laws include things like increasing law enforcement, increasing federal funding of law enforcement. This is the reason why a city such as Minneapolis has now decided from the city council that they are going to disband the police department and put that money into community public safety. They're trying to do something similar in the city of Los Angeles. But we have to think many presidents for the place that we now are. We can think first, Richard Nixon. I am not a crook. Nixon. We can first think him. Because, well, he came in right after the civil rights and systematically got into office based on the fears of white people against us, Black people, getting too big for our britches, because they felt that we would immediately cause crimes. And then this moved on. Wait, one second, you guys. I'm sorry, Ray. What you have to say? What you say?
Video just surfaced. Boston police smashed their own police cruisers and blamed the protesters.
Oh, okay. So it appears in the city of Boston, one of the most Black-friendly cities in this country. I say that sarcastically. That the Boston PD is responsible for police cruisers being smashed. And they blamed it on the protesters, but they did it themselves. Interesting. That's just like in Minneapolis, where we had police officers that were doing some of the looting, but posing as, I don't know, protesters. So these are reasons why we need to have some of this defunding done. But let me continue. After Nixon, we then had Reagan, who took what Nixon did and took it to the next level with all these crazy laws. And then our dear old Bill Clinton. Thank you for 3 strikes, you're out. Thank you. Thank you for, I don't know, helping to destroy so many Black lives. All of you people. Because all of this was over, when our people were strung out on drugs. Y'all remember crack and how it ravaged the Black communities? But crack is the same thing as powder cocaine. It's just, they just, mix a little boil it, make it into a rock, but it's still the same thing. However, crack carried a stiffer sentence than cocaine. And we were criminals in put behind bars. Now fast forward to 2020, and now there's opioids, and we're not the ones strung out. Now they need help. They don't need to go to jail. You see how they do that? You see how they do that? And unfortunately, in the thinking that, the fear of Black people, it's not just other races that feared us. It was our own who helped to perpetuate this craziness that we now see ourselves in. We don't even want to talk about the fact that, for years, decades even, that members of the Ku Klux Klan, the KKK, those people, I don't know what their new name is, their PC name, sorry, not sorry, have been members of law enforcement all over this red, white, and blue country. Yeah. So what we need to think about is, how are they going to fix this? Because, I know they're the naysayers who say that, this is the same old, but it's not the same old, y'all. The world wasn't marching when Rodney King got beat and LA was in flames. The world wasn't marching when the Watts riots or revolt happened and Watts was going up in flames. The world really wasn't really closely watching when we were dealing with the civil rights movement and all of the things that were going on in the South unchecked. But now, thanks to social media, more people are seeing this and more people are waking up, perhaps, or maybe a better description is they are facing the reality of what is really happening to Black people in the United States, the land of the free. It's not so free for us. It never has been. It never has been. How could it be? When our ancestors were kidnapped and brought over here in bondage, and were in that bondage for 400 freaking years. 400 years. They were in bondage. And then they still haven't been given a level playing field even since then. We haven't been given a level playing field. It's sad. And I know that, a lot of people are out there in the protests on the front lines, and we all feel like we want results yesterday. But honestly, we know that's not going to happen. We know it's going to take a long time to fix this situation, not just here in the land of the free, but everywhere else that law enforcement misbehave. I mean, because, there are many other countries where law enforcement are corrupt. You have to pay them off. Even here sometimes too. So we just have to really hope that this is really going to start to change things. Hey, the underrated darkness. Good morning. We just have to really, think about what it is that we really want. Do we want just equality? To be treated like human beings? I'm doing good. I am doing good. Because that's basically what it appears that we're asking for. We're asking for equality. That's cool.
Justice, equality.
But is equality enough? Is my question. Is that really enough? After all the time, all the stuff that we've gone through, just to get it through their heads that we actually matter. Although you treated us as chattel, we were never really chattel. And we recognize that some of you still try to see us that way, but that's not who we are. It saddens me when you think about from Nixon on, they have done nothing at a national level but try to find ways to incarcerate our people, because they can't actually overturn the Emancipation Proclamation. Go figure. So, what better way to get us back in there but through the privatized plantation called the prison system, And with these having to serve 85% of the sentence, or at the federal level, what they give you is what you get. No possibility of parole. They basically taken parole away in most cases, because they don't want to rehabilitate, because they don't want our people free. Now, yeah, sure, Clinton's apologized. The governor of California, Jerry Brown, apologized at the time, and, there's so many people who are trying to undo this unjust wrong that was done to African Americans, Black people, whatever you want to call us. But the truth of the matter is that repealing those laws is not going to undo the damage that was done. It really isn't. It would hopefully make it better for future generations. But it's not going to undo the damage that was done. And they know that equality is not enough. They know that. They don't care. We have a person in office, 45, who wanted the Central Park Five to be put to death. And they're innocent. Go figure. And he has never walked back anything that he said about those young men. Yet this person is now the president of this country. So when you have someone like that in leadership who, I don't know, promotes hatred and promotes exclusivity, how much change are we going to give this fool in office? How many of y'all are really going to get out there and do what you need to do? Not just be on protest lines, but actually be involved in things that are going to actually make things change in your cities. You know, the first place people need to start is on neighborhood councils and stuff, that kind of stuff. But, you know, Kimberly Johnson did make a point. We don't own anything. We own nothing as a people. So maybe we need to start with owning stuff, you know, again. Maybe we need to start with that. You know, but the way that they stack the cards against us, we have to join forces in order to do that kind of stuff. And you know how hard it is for us to come together to build and to help each other to get
2 words you'll never hear.
Real estate.
Black unity.
And that kind of stuff, you know. I don't know. You know, maybe families would try.
No.
Black families coming together. Now, I mean, I'm not saying we all gonna do it, because there are some that will. But for the most part, everybody else does that. And that is the part of the culture that we don't have. And the reason we don't have it is because it was stolen from us when our ancestors were kidnapped from Africa. It was stolen from us. Stolen.
I remember it was enforced even more when they got here to America as slaves.
Exactly. I'm getting ready to get there.
Willie Lynch divided us forever.
You know, so when they brought us here, you know, they separated us from our homeland. They mixed us all together. Peoples from multiple tribes.
Tell them about Willie.
You know, people from multiple tribes that didn't even know each other.
Tell them about Willie. Go on, tell them.
So we move on. And they pit us against each other. They make it seem like they are our saviors. And we shouldn't trust each other.
Old against young.
We shouldn't trust each other. Which is the reason why we don't trust each other even now as Black people. Just think about it, y'all. Now, between when Bill Clinton was in office and Obama was in office, a lot of Black people became homeowners. There was this program that Bill Clinton put in. It was called the Nehemiah program. I don't believe it still exists, but it was around for that long. And it was really put in to help us to be homeowners and stuff. But Big Short took that all away. Took it all away. Because really, for Black people, no matter what you call yourself, because I know there's all these different things people want to call themselves, but let me just say, my birth certificate says I'm a Negro, and I don't call myself a Negro. It's because of when I was born. Because that's, and different people decide we are what we are. Jesse Jackson is the one who coined the African American stuff. It didn't really stick. A lot of us have a problem with it because it doesn't really describe who we are. But they pitted us against each other when we were in those fields and in those massive houses. And in the North, they did similar things, because they had, they didn't have all these farms and everything, but they had their slaves go work in textile mills and stuff for no pay. Yeah, that part. So they made us a non-trusting people of ourselves, which is why we have no unity. Not the kind of unity that we should have. Not the kind of unity that other ethnic groups have. It's unfortunate. Now, you will see that in some of our families, we have somehow learned to have that type of unity. But we had to learn this stuff because it wasn't handed down to us. Our people have never had the opportunities of having generational wealth to hand down. It usually, one generation has it and then it's gone. The next generation don't have what their parents had. I think right now we're only starting to learn that stuff. Unfortunately, money is power. And it's part of what helps to make changes. Sadly. But we have to change things. And just getting out there and protesting, I'm so sorry, that's not going to do it. Yeah, now people are willing to go to jail. That's all grand, but we've got to have an end game, and the end game can't be to take all the money from the police departments and then not do something good with it. The end game cannot be for us to go back to where we were before, because I'm telling you, if this does not change, it's going to end up being worse, because this movement has gained huge momentum. And the world is looking at this country, and they're looking at the crazy leader that we have, who pretty much everyone sees as someone who does not particularly care for Black people. You know why? Because he calls us the Black people, the Blacks. We're called the Blacks. Like we're animals. You know, that's just like back in the day, people call them the coloreds. Think about it. I'm just saying. Just think about it. It's pure madness. It is pure madness. Hey, uppity unicorn. You so bad. Yep, it's locked down, girl. Locked down by a black king. Yep. Oh, but there's this crazy girl. Her last name, I can't even think of it because it evades me. First name is Candace, though. She's black, of course. And I believe right now she's being dragged by Black Twitter because she's explaining why she does not support the movement. Because apparently she thinks this is all about George Floyd. But, you know, she goes into talking about all of his criminal past and all of the things and yada, yada, yada. And don't nobody want to hear it. Now, granted, she is articulate. So, you know, people of other races are listening and they're scratching their heads. Like they always scratch their heads because they're always like, y'all can't even be for y'all, for each other. Now, here's the thing that I will give some other races that shall be nameless, but they will back up their folk no matter what, good, bad, indifferent. They don't care. They'll stand by them. And I'm not saying necessarily that's the case, but in this situation, girl, Miss Candace, you need to go sit down somewhere. But she's always been apparently a vocal person. It's probably why I tend to ignore the black people that, you know, have their noses up 45's butt. I do. And she's one of them. She's definitely a conservative commentator. And she holds conservative views. Now, see, I believe that I'm conservative too, though. But I'm not their kind of conservative. Because, see, my conservative doesn't include, I don't know, self-hate and, you know, going against black people when it's about the good. You know? But anyway, homegirl is getting dragged. Where was this, babe?
That's today at LA.
Oh, that was here in LA. There was like 7,000 people out there.
Yeah, they do. They out there good. Shit.
Yeah, it was about 7,000 deep in LA today. It was huge. But it's been huge in DC. I wanted to get to 1 million people in Washington, DC, my hometown. I wanted to get to 1 million people on Black Lives Matter Plaza, right in front of the freaking White House, which is at 1600 Black Lives Matter Plaza. I love it. And I want there to be even more people. Just keep building that crowd on up. We got time. We got time. He got time. You know, because the hatred is not going to win. We have got to get these people who are calling themselves police officers, law enforcement, sheriffs, state troopers. We can go on. That do not have the right mindset. The hell out of there. I don't know if the right answer is to get more Black people into being police, because honestly, they've made it very difficult for Black people to even qualify to be police officers.
Just get the rednecks and the Nazis out. Shit.
Black. So
they gotta be Black. Just get the rednecks and the Nazis out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to get a whole bunch of Black people who are just going to be knocking down the door to become police officers. But I think the first thing to do is just get rid of the ones that shouldn't be there in the first place. This is not the job for them anymore. This is not the job for them anymore. And thank God for people videotaping everything nowadays. Thank God. But you know what? I need more people to not be videotaping and stop these fools with guns. Because they're not in fear of their life. They're using their authority in a malicious and hateful way. Because they think they can. And that is what the problem is. It's not about, everyone who wears a badge. But unfortunately, it appears that it's not just a few who shouldn't have a badge. That's what the problem is. It's not a minority. It's not. I'm not saying it's a majority of them, but it's certainly not a few bad apples. It's certainly not a few. And the problem is that these quote unquote bad apples come in all colors. Because you have some self-hating Black officers who will do crazy things to Black people just to prove, that they're with the blue code. Or they already have a predisposition to thinking that all Black people are bad too. Because, I've already said that there are Black people who fear Black people as well, who think we are all criminals as well. Doesn't say much for those of us who have never been arrested or been inside of a jail cell in our lives. Knock on wood. Because apparently we're a rarity. And civil disobedience in a protest, if that's the only reason you've ever been arrested, that doesn't count. Then you are one of the ones who pretty much hasn't been arrested either. I'm talking about those of us who aren't actually out here, we're not out here stealing. We're not out here killing people. We're just, I don't know, making a life for ourselves, making a life for our kids, trying to be a generation that's able to leave something to our children in a country that has never done anything for us And yet and still, %67 of us go to college now. %67. You know, I mean, we're right up there with our white counterparts as far as being educated. Yet and still, we're seen as criminals and as being inferior. I beg to differ. You know, the only ones who have a higher percentage of people going to college than you know, us and, you know, our white counterparts are Asians, because, you know, pretty much about 85% of them go to college. You know? So, and I'm talking about here in the United States. Hey, Victoria Shea, how are you? Here in the United States. Even though it may not seem like it, in this current generation, 67% of Blacks go to college. We go past high school. And a good percentage of those who go to college actually graduate. And they may be in student loan debt for the next 30 years. But they're going to college. That's what you need. That's what I was talking about.
Just want to do your head, your face, and all at the same. Yeah, that's the new shit.
But you know, let them continue to make us think these crazy things about our people. Don't listen to all these crazy statistics. They're not true. You know, we're seen as guilty and as criminals many times when we haven't even committed the crime. Central Park 5. Great example. Great example. Sorry, y'all. They're shooting fireworks over here.
I don't feel simple.
They're shooting fireworks over y'all. I swear it's fireworks.
They're violent.
Thank you, Victoria Shea. I appreciate that. You know, I mean, we are a small percentage of the diaspora, y'all, here in America. And we think that we have not had power, but at this moment in time, the world is listening to us. So I hope we are giving them the right message. Because they're seeing what we have been saying. It's starting to click. That we are living in a system that has been set up for us to not succeed at any level. It is set up for us to go into the system, the penal system I'm talking about. It's set up for our kids to go into it. It's not set up for us to succeed in this country. And yet, and still, we are. Not like we should be. But despite everything that these people keep doing to us, the only thing our people want is for them to recognize that we matter too, and that we want to be treated like human beings. But that's really not enough. It's not enough. You know, there's so many innocent Black lives in prison right now for things they didn't do. But because of the way that the justice system is set up, where the prosecutors are the ones who are deciding how long you go to prison and not the judge, and the judges are given no kind of they can't even make any changes. It has to be exactly what that is. Mandatory minimums, they call them. And the stacking of charges. How can our young people, if they get trapped into this system, ever make it out? Well, they don't intend for them to. They want them to be the free labor. Let's just call it what it is. They can't legally enslave us again, but hey, they can do this. And we are the problem. Us and the hippies. Didn't you know? It's us and the hippies. We are the problem. That's why those little old men, Ben and Jerry, got arrested. They're hippies. And the hippies always fight for us. So they're the problem too. It's just crazy. I mean, you know, my church still hasn't opened. Now, I know a lot of churches did open up this Sunday. And to the churches in the state of California that went along with that ridiculous 100 maximum, God bless you. But my pastor ain't going for it. And she, as far as she's concerned, God hasn't told her to open back up the doors. We're all still going to church on Sunday on Facebook or on the church website. Those who want to tithe are still tithing. We are still worshiping and doing what we need to do from our homes. Yes, we want to be back in our houses of worship. But we want it to be on our own terms, not on the state's terms. Because I don't know, I thought there was a separation of church and state. You know, I just have strong feelings about that. I'm fine with us going to church online for the time being. I just don't like what's going on and the message that it's sending. Because many people, you know, their belief system is what keeps them sane. And thankfully, even though they stole our ancestors from the continent, and the reason why I call it the continent, because I really don't like calling it Africa, because, you know, that's not really the name. That's the name somebody gave it. You know, that's the name some European gave it. That's not the name that it was before. It was Alkebulan. That was the original name of the continent. Alkebulan. So as I was saying, even though they stole our ancestors from the continent, they still did not steal our spirituality from us. That's one thing that was still ingrained in us, regardless of whether, you out there worshiping the blue-eyed, blonde-haired Jesus, which I don't, or, if you are just a spiritual person, if you are, into Santeria, voodoo, hoodoo, Islam, whatever. Our beings are still spiritual people. And they never stole that from us. And it's part of the reason why you see so many of us still fighting against the injustices that are done to our people in this country. Still, it's the reason why you see all these mothers, all of these young men and women who have been murdered by law enforcement, still out there fighting so it doesn't happen to somebody else's son or daughter. So it's not about police officers. It's about the ones who call themselves law enforcement or police officers who shouldn't be in that line of profession. Personally, I don't think they need to be, I don't know, behind bars somewhere for all the stuff that they've done legally with a badge, that if they didn't have a badge, they would not be able to legally do. They would be in jail for. Yeah, that part. Hey, Maria. Hola. So before I forget, because y'all know how I can go on, there are 2 videos that are coming out tomorrow and Tuesday. I may put them both out tomorrow, but at this point, I think one is going to be out tomorrow. The other one will be out on Tuesday. And then there's a third one, which I'm still working on, but that one is going to be a minute because I'm working on that one with my son. And these are both autism based. One is hopefully going to be my final thoughts in regards to the Micah Stafford situation. I hope it's my final thoughts on that. Because so much has happened in that particular situation. It's just a black eye right now, in my opinion, on the autism community on YouTube, on the adoption, on the adoptive parent community on YouTube, on just the family vlogs that are on YouTube because of what these people did, allegedly. Oh, there's. I thought it was more than that, Maria. So there's 9 other complaints. I thought there was more than that. Well, he's going to jail. He has to go to jail. That dude has to go to jail. I mean, they've looked back on him. They're looking back into it on all 4 of those guys. It's but they're not the only problems. There are other cases around the country with other officers. That nobody is talking about. There's one up in, I think, in Tacoma. So it's rampant. It's not just one police department in one city. It's a problem nationwide. And yeah, there may be police departments that are doing what they need to be doing. I know, like in Newark, they're trying to, they've done a whole lot of changes and everything. Yeah, that's great there. But LAPD, and I don't even live in the city of Los Angeles, but my sibling does. LAPD, I've lived here for a long time, and they are one of the worst police departments as far as police brutality. And that's why so much is going on in the city of Los Angeles, y'all. You know, they didn't stop doing their craziness after Rodney King. It got worse because those freaking dudes got off. Y'all know I want to say something else, but anyway. Hijos de puntas. Ah, hijos de punta. I'll say it like that. So because they got off, you know, it got worse. I mean, we've had ramparts since then. It's a lot of corruption in LAPD. You know, that has gone unchecked, no matter who is in charge, even when they brought in an outsider, you know, to supposedly come and clean it up. And anyway, guys, I know I've been on here for about an hour. I'm going to come on camera before I jump off. Hey everyone, got my hair up in a head wrap tonight because I took my braids down. My son wants to say hi. He's already dressed for bed. Say hi.
Mm-hmm.
Say hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
You getting ready to go to bed?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. He has to come and say hi to y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the pullback. He has to come and say hi to y'all. But yeah, my hair is up in a head wrap because I literally just washed it, dyed my hair and washed it right before I got on. So, but by tomorrow, I will have purple hair again. I know. They're half telling this stuff because I thought it was like 18. I'm telling you, somebody said there was like 18 complaints against this guy. 18 complaints against him. So, but I will be back on tomorrow, you guys. But until then, I thank you everyone for coming through. I know some people were in the clouds. That's okay. I don't mind. I know it's a pretty quiet night tonight. But I'll be back on tomorrow, and I'll be back on time at 9:30 West Coast time. I might come on earlier. I don't know. You know, it depends because we've been having rehearsals, but I don't know if I'm going to be rehearsing this week that much because most of the scenes that I did in the movie were yesterday. So most of my stuff is the not present day. I did stuff that was done like, I think my stuff was like in the 80s. Yeah, so I dressed like the 80s. Anyway, I'll be back on tomorrow. But until then, I offer you guys peace and blessings from the West Side. Thank you guys for coming. Hope y'all like my nice little wrap on my hair tonight. It's purple, of course. I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.